And rather BBB AC or Parliament na adekra AC or Parliament. Eba bibi dwamu ewa ha sei ede amama ha Gossip Politics TV. So unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na be any update be ever drop no onso onsa ebetumi akabi. Anti-LGBTQ bill no finally Parliament pass sa bill na sisi President Mahama eba be sign na che say ye de akoye mbre mu say anti-LGBTQ Ghana ha sei ye ni engine so anti-LGBTQ so. Sa bill Kruyano 2024-2023 during NPP tenure, Parliament passed that same bill at the Kokoma former President Akufo-Addo. The former President Akufo-Addo at the one and call Parliament to say massa or no enya dia obeso so bibia so. Finally, Parliament wa passes our bill na President Mahama babe sign na encounter be echoes between minority leader and majority leader Mahama and Afenyo Markin. Abusuya NPP minority say there is some clause in that anti-LGBTQ na bill no more passing no more dear omo ne NDC for enyadwe. Abusuya momi yanko na yanko kwoti sa ensema ekoso ewo Parliament ona answer na be kono be pese me di enkomo bi kirem Ghana ha say open laptop papa any computer papa bora perosity computers and accessories eho na obenya laptop papa free na the de woman say budget be okra obi ase okra low budget say okra high budget obenya laptop papa high quality laptop the amam now location there any problem na the location so e wo Kumasi Bokrom estate line eho na obora obehu perosity computers and accessories speaking number ya that's na a friend 0247 030-108 and I say 0597-942-133. So what first our numbers to in our Peruzzi computers are sounds of first our number way 0540-882-824 or sounds so a professional repairers our laptops and our computers SAR on best service at the Amamamian corner and some course.
Into our stories for tonight. Coming up, all there is to know about Ghana's new anti-homosexuality law and why the minority caucus is unhappy. As of tonight, Ghana has joined nearly 36 African countries to criminalize same-sex relations and queer living. Tonight, Parliament passed the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, widely known as the Anti-LGBTQ+ Bill, a legislation that prohibits promotion, advocacy, and advertisement of LGBTQ activities in the country. Despite the passage of the bill, the minority caucus raises some concerns about aspects being too lenient during its debate. Take a listen.
You see the proposal and the footnote. It said the rationale is to create an exemption for these categories of activity that may otherwise impugn under Section 2. The Speaker, this is just watering down the point that you wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign. These are the people sponsoring, supporting, making these activities rather attractive behind the scenes and even sometimes overtly. And if the House will use their majority numbers to push it through, I, as a sponsor, will advise myself accordingly.
Very well. You are entitled to advise yourself. Yes, Majority Leader.
NPP is passing.
Let's put these into proper perspective. What are we talking about here? What is in this bill? In a tad, we'll have a conversation with advocates for this bill as well. But right now, we know that it criminalizes promotion of LGBTQ+ activities, advocacy in support of same, public encouragement or sustained support for prohibited acts, distribution or publication of related materials in certain contexts, media or technological dissemination aimed at children. The bill prohibits producing, broadcasting, distributing, or publishing materials directed at children if the intention is to encourage interest in prohibited acts or teach children to explore gender identities outside the male and female binary. It also goes on to say that it applies across internet platforms, electronic devices, films, broadcast media, and other technological platforms. The bill bars persons identified under LGBTQ plus categories from adopting children, being granted foster care arrangements, and these categories will include people who are identified as gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and lesbian. It also talks about people who identify as pansexual, non-binary, or other identities considered contrary to the binary categories of male and female. It would apply to you. Now, there are also some responsibilities inside this bill on each and every one of us in this country. For instance, a person who knows an offense has been committed under the Act must report it to the police or community authority. Community authorities receiving reports must forward those reports to the nearest police station within 3 days. This effectively, as I've already mentioned, places responsibilities on individuals, you, me, everybody, community leaders, traditional authorities, local officials. And these individuals will include even parents, essentially, right? The bill also includes a clause prohibiting verbal abuse, physical assault, harassment, and extrajudicial treatment. Now, that is to say that the fact that you have seen an offense being committed does not mean that you can go and then physically abuse, verbally abuse, harass whoever you think is committing that offense. So extrajudicial treatments such as mob justice or abuse attract some form of imprisonment ranging from a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 3 years. Let's look at the exemptions. Now, these exemptions and protections are exactly what the minority side in Parliament are unhappy about. So let's go through them. The proposed amendments create exemptions for legal representation, course submissions, academic, scientific, and medical publications, health-related programs, counseling, medical services, journalism in the ordinary course of reporting. So not journalism to encourage LGBTQ plus activities, but journalism that talks about in the ordinary course of reporting. When you're reporting your story really hard, hopefully we can have a conversation on the back of that. HIV and AIDS prevention care. If people at the Ghana AIDS Commission decide that they want to talk about LGBTQ plus activities as a way of educating people on HIV and AIDS, this bill exempts them and protects them from prosecution. So it appears to shield lawyers, journalists, doctors, researchers, and public health organizations from criminal liability when performing legitimate professional duties. The bill introduces or revises definitions for marriage, intersex, non-binary, romantic relations, family values. I think I've been through that. And you know, I want to go on now and speak to my guests on this matter in a tad. But here's the last one I want you to look at. That the proposed definition now for marriage is specifically defined as a union between a man and a woman whose sexes are determined at birth. No transgender in there. No, I identify as a man or I'm non-binary. If the sex given you or gender given you at birth is not male and female, whatever you have is not recognized by the law, and in fact, it's a crime. But I also want us to hear now from the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament on this. We'll follow on with the Minority Leader, Alexander Afenyo, Markin, on the same subject. Wrap it off, with the Majority Leader, Mahama. Then we'll begin the conversation. Take a look.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Honourable members, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 is duly read for the third time and passed.
Professionals such as lawyers raise strong issues that were violating their professional freedom and violating the rights of people to legal services. Then academics, universities. So what the committee is trying to do is to narrowly set out
those exceptions where when you speak, you will not be considered as promoting or supporting LGBTQ.
Your arguments are in bad faith. Majority leader, in bad faith. In bad faith. You are doing the mystery politics. You want to deceive the people of Ghana.
Leader,
Who told you? Who told you, majority leader?
This kind of politics is childish. This kind of politics is childish. No, this kind of politics is childish. We've gone beyond it. Ghanaians can see through your politics. Mr. Speaker.
That's how it played out. Eventually, it was passed, as you heard from the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo. Let's have a chat on the back of this now. Edem Senanu is the chairman for Advocates for Christ Ghana, a very strong advocate for this. We also have from the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Bishop Matthew Kwesi Jemfi. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has also been very loud on the delays that have plagued the passing of this bill. Now, the reason we do not have any voices from the opposing side is because when we reach out to Amnesty International, who have been against this bill for a very long time now, they declined to comment at this time. They would want to study the bill before they pass any comments. And so let's have a conversation as we have Edem and Bishop over the lines now. Edem, I'll start off with you. Is this what you advocated for?
Well, yes, I think that what I have seen reflects the thinking behind the law. This was just to make sure you have some barriers that reduce the likelihood that certain practices that are anathema to our socio-cultural context don't begin to be propagated. And I think that the iterative processes have brought out the best, even looking at the exemptions. I think they are reasonable. So we'll get into that, I'm sure. But in my mind, if you take a journalist who is investigating, discussing, or reporting, these are relevant because the same medium that will alert us if something is going wrong. I think these are very well reasoned and argued exemptions as well. So I think that we're in a pretty good place at the moment as far as this law is concerned.
Bishop, thank you so much tonight for joining us here. We know that in recent times, over the past few weeks, the Bishops' Conference has spoken about the delays, encouraging Parliament and the government to work assiduously on this and pass it. Now it's been passed. You must be happy. Bishop, we can't hear you. You'd have to unmute. So it would appear we're having challenges with Bishop Matthew Kwesi Jemfi tonight. We'll rectify that. In the meantime, I'll continue with the conversation with Edem Senanu. Edem, let's talk about those exemptions and why you think those exemptions caused the level of debate it did in Parliament.
Well, the little I listened to, I'm not quite sure he should have raised the debate. I mean, if you wanted to take an entrenched position, perhaps then yes. And maybe that's just for the optics. But yes, academics need to do work. And truly, society is dynamic. So over time, things will come up. It is good to have a body of professionals who continue to do work that informs us and that we can look at the scientific data and say, based on this, we are improving our policy, we are changing our policy, because policy and law is not supposed to be static, it's supposed to be dynamic. So certain needs may arise over time. The researchers are doing it, they are telling us, you change your policies accordingly. That may even include the data. Part of our arguments, I remember when we submitted 4 papers to Parliament during the process as we helped craft the law. Was the data we had collected on how this particular community is prone to many health challenges. And that is data that we have used to talk to young people and say, listen, these practices don't go without a cost. So why would you prohibit those kinds of research? Why would you stop journalism from reporting it and saying, you know, we need to educate the populace. I think that those were very well argued and thought through clauses. In any case, as was the case when the original bill went to the former president, Article 106 of the Constitution gave him two options, either to assent or to refer it back to Parliament with a memoranda stating the specs that they thought might not work, needed to be reconsidered for that to be rephrased. So I think that whichever way, even now, our current president may look at it and then decide that certain things need to be tightened or otherwise and refer it back to Parliament, or may proceed to assent it. So we are not yet at the end of the road. There's still, we need to wait and see what the president will do.
Absolutely. And we know that the president has said, look, once Parliament works on it, it comes to my desk, I will sign. But as you've rightly put, he may have some concerns and return it to Parliament as well. Adam, I wanted to think about what appears to be a very thin line that could be easily blurred. Because even me as a journalist, when I try to explain what the ordinary course of reporting could be in line of this law, I struggled a little bit, while I'm reporting. Could I also be cited for promoting LGBTQ activities? How do you think that the law interprets the two? I'll come to you on that. Well, let me try Bishop now. Bishop Matthew Kwesi Gyamfi is the president of the Catholic Bishops Conference. And Bishop, I was asking earlier that now that your call has been heeded to, you must be happy because the bill has passed.
Certainly, we are happy, even though we are not aware of the amendments that have been made, because they say the devil is in the details. Or they say, we believe that since the general body of this bill has been accepted by Parliament, and as long as there is no positive promotion of LGBTQ activities, and nobody is allowed to teach these things to our children and young people, and it is not going to be part of our culture, the rest, we can talk about them. So we are certainly happy that it has been passed, but we are not totally happy because it has just been passed. And this was done in the past government and Parliament. And it's passed, but unless the president appends his signature to it, then it has no force. So Parliament has cleared the first hurdle. They must clear the second hurdle. That means to use the accepted means to place it on the desk of the president. Then the third hurdle is for the president to sign. And Parliament has one main hurdle to clear. Then we will all be looking at what the president would then do. Then we know Parliament has finished their part. So we are very happy that this bill has been passed. But this is not the first time it is being passed. So they must go ahead and go beyond what the last Parliament did. That means getting it to the president. Then we know that this Parliament has done something more than the previous Parliament did.
I see. So Bishop, indulge me, because in this bill is the duty to report offenses. Now, if a member of your church came to confession and told you, anything in line with, I may be gay or, queer in some way, Bishop, then you'd have to report to that person. How does that conflict with your oath of secrecy with somebody who comes to confession?
Well, when you use the word confession as it is practiced and understood in the Catholic Church, whatever goes within or between or within the confessional remains there. Nobody will ever have the access to that information, let alone to know what was ever discussed there. So the confidentiality is so strict, even to the point of death, and nobody can compare a priest who has heard a confession of a fellow member to ever divulge it. Nobody comes into that area, that terrain.
I see. Would you consider that counseling services, because we know that the bill exempts that duty on counseling services? Would you consider it that, or you consider it breaking the law if you do not report?
Well, counseling has its own regulations, and there is a confidentiality between the counselor and.
Okay, I was going to and some so our political highway. So a parliament and a yadimobore a anti-LGBTQ a bill. No, finally, ya sign and answer ya pass ya and ya asam talk. But I must say, some of Japan and Cocotiza and some way at my aha a gossip politics TV. So, but I must say.